Alright, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. So, I woke up this morning early and, went to checking my emails and whatnot. And I received a message and someone said, SouFlo, such and such person said that if Vybz Kartel is hit with a retrial, you're going to piss yourself. Okay, so my answer to that was, please do some research on my background, what I did in the military, how many children I have, my responsibilities daily. If those don't make me piss myself, I'm not going to piss myself because Vybz Kartel is ordered a retrial, right? However, I think it's very important for us to have this conversation leading up to whatever the verdict may be from the law lords in the UK at the Privy Council, because everything is now in their hands. And for those of us who have been following this case, Vybz Kartel's appeal at the Privy Council, those who watched it clearly saw that the law lords at the Privy Council had an issue with how the case was conducted, right? There was a certain person who should not have been allowed to be a part of the jury pool to continue the case all the way to where a verdict was delivered. Therefore, the verdict that was delivered is what you call an unpure verdict, or the verdict wasn't pure. It wasn't good because the jury pool was tainted, so to speak. Based on that angle, I believe it was Bert Samuels, attorney at law, senior attorney, already let us know what the possible outcomes could be for the Vybz Kartel case. This particular conversation we're having, though, surrounds what message will be sent and how Jamaica's relationship with the UK or England or the Crown, for that matter, how that relationship will fare. In a time like this, you've heard the Prime Minister of Jamaica tell the Crown to some degree that Jamaica is looking to separate itself from the Crown and be truly independent. It's 2024, and a lot of people are just now finding out that Jamaica is not truly independent. They have their own flag, they have their own national anthem, but they still answer to a higher power, right? If you ask anybody, where is the Supreme Court for the United States of America, that Supreme Court is in the United States of America, and it is controlled by judges in the United States of America who are from the United States of America, who are schooled and certified in the United States of America. If you ask anybody, where is the highest courts for Jamaica, the answer is it is at the Privy Council in the UK, and it is not controlled by Jamaicans, as you saw if you watched the Vybz Kartel appeal, which, by the way, shout out to the Privy Council again. I just love the way that they handled this, because it was not something that was done behind closed doors that left anybody guessing. It was open, it was clear, it was there for the world to see. That means fools can talk. Intelligent people can assess and have conversations too, right? But it was there for everybody to see. Now, what the verdict will say in this case, for instance, if the Privy Council comes back and says this case should be tried all over again, if the Privy Council does that, that would tell us that the Privy Council is a part of the problem. In other words, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that sometimes things are happening behind the scenes, and somebody is pulling the strings, and you don't know who is pulling the strings. Jamaica has a Governor General. Ask, who does the Governor General report to? Okay, just ask. Ask, who does the Governor General report to? That means the Governor General is not just ruling off of his own ruling. You understand? Somebody is his master. Somebody is his boss. Somebody is giving him orders that he must follow. and must hand down to our Prime Minister, etc., etc. Right. So if the Privy Council comes back and says this case must be retried, this could very well be a clear look into a conspiracy altogether to silence someone who has so much influence. Imagine being a person who is more influential than any leader in your country. And I know a lot of people are going to argue about that and say, SouFlo, shut up. More influential than any leader. We're talking about the battle for the mind of the masses, especially the young. And Vybz Kartel has more power over the young generation than any political leader in Jamaica. He is more powerful in that sense, more influential in that sense than any political leader. So, if the political leaders of Jamaica have an agenda and they want the country, especially the young generation, to wave left, if Vybz Kartel steps on that scene and he says wave right, they will all go against the grade of what their leader's agenda is supposed to be, because he is that influential. Now, why would the Privy Council give a retrial or demand or rule that there should be a retrial? I think the Privy Council judges are intelligent enough to also see that Vybz Kartel's case was not a mistake why he ended up there. Yes, sometimes they can be like, well, the judge ruled in error, right? And if the judge ruled in error, then it's a mistake. An error is a mistake, right? But a calculated plot between a group of people is not an error, and it's not a mistake. And the Privy Council judges looking at this case should be able to see that Vybz Kartel and the rest of the guys that ended up in there with him, they did not end up there because a mistake was made. Genuine mistake was made. They ended up there because it was a concerted effort to have them end up there. They were going to go there no matter what. And I'm talking about going to prison with a life sentence no matter what, because that is where those people wanted them to be. That's the reason why they ignored certain things during the trial, because their whole goal was to get them to serve time in prison, and a lengthy sentence at that. The end goal was to silence the influence of an individual who had become so influential yet was not on their page. If Vybz Kartel was playing game with the establishment per se, if he was in cahoots with Paula Llewellyn and whatever her beliefs are, her agenda is, whatever, he wouldn't be where he is. He wouldn't be where he is if he was playing ball with certain people who are in positions of power. What it is he is not in cahoots with them, so he's seen as a threat to them. Now, again, I believe that the judges, the law lords at the Privy Council are intelligent enough to look at this case and say, that wasn't a genuine error. That was calculated, done on purpose. A lot of damage has been done. The only fair thing to do is to overturn the verdict and let those guys go completely. Because how do you give malicious people who had malicious intentions from the beginning, which is obvious, how do you give them the same case to try all over again? That's like me taking my car to a mechanic and my car is messed up, and the mechanic fixes the one thing that's messed up but rigs something else so that in a couple of days I'll be back, because that hose is now loose and pressure is going to cause that hose to pop, bust while I'm driving down the street. So I might drive away from the mechanic thinking, oh, he fixed this and I'm now good because I don't hear the sound anymore. But boom, a hose exploded and now I need a new radiator. And he did that on purpose. And if I find out that he did it on purpose, why would I bring my vehicle back to the same person? You understand? It was malicious what he did, and now I should bring my vehicle back to the same person for him to fix it again? Who is to say that he won't fix what he messed up purposely and then mess something else up purposely along the way? In other words, Vybz Kartel would never, ever get a fair trial in Jamaica. So that ship has already sailed. That ship has already sailed. And the relationship between the UK and Jamaica will be judged based on the verdict of this case. And I say that because once the verdict is read, if that verdict comes down, A, it's going to say, they're over there. If it reads B, let those guys free, what it's going to say is our former colonial masters have moved on from those colonial times. Our former colonial masters are living in a different time. They are up to speed, up to date, they are modern. They are now judging based on character and truth, no longer judging based on, remember, Bob Marley, until the philosophy, which is a Haile Selassie speech, until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, everywhere is war. Until the color of a man's skin is no more significance than the color of his eyes, right? Until. So I say that to say this. If the Privy Council says, let them free, it is because they have looked at the case and they now see that, for one, it was maliciously done. For two, he will never be able to get a new trial in Jamaica, and there's no other place else they could go try him, right? And based on that alone, let's just do away with the case. Over 11, 12 years, and it had over a decade plus more years have been served already off the case. At this point, just let it be done and over with, right? Hoping that Mr. Palmer, which is Vybz Kartel, and the rest of the guys will keep their noses clean and won't ever get in trouble again. The case was iffy from the beginning, right? Right. Now, in the event that there should be a retrial ordered by the Privy Council, please don't forget that there are other evidence that could be presented at this new trial that is irrefutable evidence. For instance, the finding of the digital forensic expert that flew into Jamaica to assess the phones and assess the information that was used, metadata information used from that device in the original trial. His finding or her finding suggested, or not suggested, clearly, plainly said that that was not reliable information, and 95% of their case, 99% of their case was based on that, right? So with that and other pieces of information out there, new evidence stating different, the case would be a bust anyways, unless one chooses to be unfair. Now, it is of my opinion that this was the biggest case in Paula Llewellyn's career, and every DPP wants to go out with a bang. Every prosecutor, even here in the US, want to go out with a bang. They want the biggest fish in the pond, no pun intended. They want the biggest whale in the sea, no pun intended. I don't know how else to put it. They want the top dog. And if I'm the person that took the top dog down, I took the top dog down, I crumbled your empire, I got you sitting in prison, and I'm retired now, and you're still sitting in prison on my watch. So she will be remembered as the DPP who put Vybz Kartel away, ended his career, all that other stuff. That's like a badge of honor for her, right? Now, if this case is flipped the other way, it'll look like, yeah, she was a part of the team that conspired to put Vybz Kartel away wrongfully, and went all the way to the Privy Council, and the Privy Council saw flaws in their case and ended up letting the guys go. So people are going to be looking at her like, damn, You gave those man so many time in prison. You let them do so much time. You know, we knew all along that you were shady, etc., etc. So it's not going to be a good look for her. And I don't think she wants to go out tarnished. I think she wants to go out shining. I think this is her last rodeo anyways, right? So she is doing all she can to make sure that they stay in prison until she leaves, retires, whatever. It's up to the Privy Council, and however the Privy Council rules is what we're going to have to deal with. It's out of my hands, it's out of your hands, but I am definitely looking for a complete acquittal, and I'm looking for those guys to walk out of there and be free, right? And again, tell such man set, I'm cool. I'm not going to piss myself. I got too much responsibilities. I've been too many places. I've done things that such man has never done, not even in his wildest dreams. Yeah. You know everything about everybody. Run my file. Run my file. I invite you to run my file and find out who it is that you talking about. Right? Alright. I'll leave this one right here for now, man. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. And I will catch you on the next video. We still say it from day one. And we've been saying it from it wasn't popular to say. There's a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon now. Free Cartel. Those were the same people who before were saying him for ton in there because it wasn't popular. And they only go where the crowd goes. But from day one till now, and all these years, we've maintained the same thing. And no, it's not because we're a fan of his music. It's because we're a fan of justice. And we actually studied this case. And we saw that the case was not tried fairly. And there were mistakes made. Exactly what you saw at the Privy Council for the world to see. I'll catch y'all on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.